That's where you come in, dude.
So speaking of, I guess I can kind of show you a new style real quick.
What is it?
Because it's going to be in the charts for next week, and that is cha-cha. So.
Oh, I've already done the cha-cha.
Have we? What is it?
He does it in cotillion.
Slow, slow, quick, quick.
Okay. So, as far as the so that's the quintillion. Is that what you said?
Cotillion.
Cotillion. What is that?
It's a etiquette and proper.
Oh, okay. So it's like a dancing thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, that's good. And you have the rhythm for it, so no problem there, right? So the idea is, what makes it really tough is it's the one that wants you to play the wiro, but on your left foot.
What's the wheel?
It's that, if you've ever seen it, it's like a football shaped thing and it's got a bunch of bumps on it and you roll a stick on it. So that's the idea, right? So if we were to get really advanced with it, your right hand would play a cowbell while your left hand goes. That's kind of tough to do. So what we're gonna do instead is you can use your right hand. So, and it's like a half samba is what you're gonna play on your feet. So watch. So what we're gonna start with is right? So you do the samba on the first half. Give that a try. Too hard for you, right? I don't think it's too bad. So then we're going to add a little bit more. So you're going to add a cross stick on 2. So we're probably just adding a cross stick on 2. So it's when you close the hat the first time. Bop, boom. During beat 4, you're going to do that thing like what we do with the mambo. Boom, 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 doom, doom. And you're just going to do that one every time. So forget the over there. And again, don't worry about the 4 times. So that's going to be your cha-cha. And so that is, we are using that for, I'll play it a little bit softer so we don't have to deal with copyright issues. So this is the song that he called the other day. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Not so bad, right? Mm-hmm. And so cha-cha is slow, medium, or fast tempo?
Kind of slow and medium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Around there.
Yep, I agree. So you're not playing right? That's more when you start to head into like mambo territory or samba. Yeah. So have you ever seen a wiro before? You've seen one now that I've described it to you. You know how it works. Yeah, that's usually your dead giveaway, right? Because that's kind of, well, that's sort of what they're wanting you to play. So they're wanting you with your left foot to play that. They're wanting you to play quarters on a cowbell with your right hand. They're wanting a cross stick on 2,
I
and
would do that.
they're wanting the tune bow on your left hand, which is the boom boom. That's if you were on congas. Boom boom. Boom boom.
So, I mean that gear drummers are doing that.
Angel's doing the one that I just showed you right now.
But is anyone going to do it on the cowbell?
Oh, I have someone separate on cowbell because there's 4 of them. So rather than like the way that we learn stuff on drum set for the most part is you want to practice as if you're going to be the only one, right? If you had someone on a Wiro, then you don't have to do the hi-hat part. You can just play on a cowbell, no problem. If you've got someone on a Wiro and a cowbell, you can do more on the snare drum and whatever, right? So when you start to play Latin, what it is I'm going to teach you a drum pattern that's going to basically cover most of the percussion of it, because that's the idea, is the drum set is supposed to be kind of a substitute for having a full percussion section, right? So then what happens is the more percussionists that you get to play along with you, the less that you have to do, because they're also doing those things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if the job is, let's say, a 4-person job, and you have nobody there, you have to do all 4 people's job, and it's
Like
a lot
that.
harder. But then each person that you add, that's that many less jobs that you have to do.
And like, this is something that applies to baseball. So, Dad, like for me when I play, we had 1 umpire, 4 bases. He's got to call every play. So at first, he can't see. He doesn't know. Can't see someone getting tagged at second. But if you have
Well, especially from home plate,
foreman.
you're talking about the.
Yeah.
You're
The
trying to
home
make
plate
a
umpire.
make a call from second base all the way from home plate.
Yeah.
Sheesh,
So he's having to make all that
that's tough.
and having to look through the dirt. He's doing 4 people's jobs.
Yeah.
If you had a 4-man job right there, then yes.
Yeah.
It would be much easier for him.
Yeah, and a lot of that kind of stuff applies too, right? You know, if you had one guy who was trying to cover both first and second base, that'd be really hard.
Well, that's basically what happens.
Yeah. So, so the idea most of the time, you know, in a full percussion sort of ensemble, when they're doing Latin music, there's going to be 4 guys, 5 guys, something like that, right? And so a drum set player is trying as best as they can't fully replace a percussion section. There's something that a full percussion section brings that a drum set kind of can't fully emulate, but at least it's close. And that's usually how it works. If they can't get the guys for it, they'll grab a drum set guy. The drum set guy will cover as much of it as possible. Okay, so that's usually your giveaway is the Wiro. So in the case that we have somebody on a Wiro, you don't necessarily have to do that part. We got somebody on congas, you don't necessarily have to do the tom part. You know, got somebody on cowbell, you don't have to do the cowbell part. You know, you can kind of adjust based on what you are working with. Okay, so that's a cha-cha. Remember that because I will put a cha-cha in front of you next week. It'll be that chart. That one I just played for you. So, and I think there's another one. It was actually kind of interesting. There's a Latin chart for Pink Panther, but I've never heard this as a Latin before.
Wait, are you guys doing that?
Yeah. He gave 4 charts. Sofrito, Besame Mucho, Pink Panther, but done in a Latin style, and what was the other one?
The last one. Out of nowhere?
No. Whatever the case, I'm pretty sure it's another Latin chart, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Oh, Night in Tunisia, which we kind of have talked about, but not really. I think he talked about doing Night in Tunisia, but then we didn't do it. That actually switches. I think it has like a Latin feel, and then goes to a jazz swing feel, and then goes back to a Latin feel.
Like Manteca.
Yeah, it's a lot like that one. Okay, and yeah, this is what's gonna start happening too, is I'm just collecting more and more charts, and I'm just putting them in front of you, and as you get better at reading these charts, it's just gonna be a lot more fun to just toss something in front of you. And then what'll happen is we'll get done with a chart, I'll put it in front of you, say, okay, take a minute to look at this, you'll look at it, then I'll put on the recording, and you'll play along with it, making sure that you follow the chart, you'll get to the end, and it'll be like, hey, I actually really liked that one was cool. And then I'll put another one in front of you, and you'll play it, and you'll go, didn't really love that chart. And then you'll play another one, and like, that one's okay. You know, you'll start to kind of get to a point, kind of like books, right? Do you love every book that you read?
No.
Not really.
I've
Right?
definitely read a few books that
Yeah.
They're just.
But
not
you've got other
there.
ones that you really like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be the same thing. I've learned how to read decently well, and I don't love every chart that gets put in front of me. You know,
Yeah,
I've been
because-
complaining nonstop about the Birdland chart.
Why? That's fun.
I think it's a fun song,
But the chart's.
but the chart is not very good.
Shove as much ink onto the page.
Whereas
as you can.
the Sofrito chart is done by the same guy who does the Rankin chart, so it is
Which-
very clean and very nice, and I love playing on it. So.
I just love Birdland because it's.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sure.
I'm a rock drummer.
I get it. But the more that you get comfortable playing Latin, the more that you get comfortable playing jazz, you'll still be a rock drummer in your
more you
heart
can
basically
get paid.
forever. But the more that you'll be able to enjoy playing other stuff that isn't just rock. You can still have fun with it, even if it isn't your go-to. I rarely ever hop into my car and just turn jazz on the radio. Like, unless I need to learn it for something. It's very rarely like, I'm in a jazz listening mood. It's almost never. I pretty much am always listening
That's
to metal.
me. That's metal and rock for me. It's
Oh,
yeah,
always,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and so that's okay.
For him.
But when someone calls a jazz chart, I'm ready to go. When someone calls a Latin chart, I'm
It's
ready
like
to go. And I can
studying.
still have fun with it.
Yeah, it's like studying.
Well,
Because, like, you study, right? Like, I'd study for a social studies test,
Mhm.
and it comes up, I'm already on. I've
I
done
like to
study.
think of it more like this. What's your favorite sport? Baseball? Is that your favorite one?
Yes.
But you still play basketball.
Mm.
Right? It's not your favorite one, but
Well,
is it still
I play
fun?
Tennis is fun. I play
Okay.
all these sports.
But-
I play volleyball.
But you don't like them as much as baseball.
No, baseball is definitely the most fun.
So that's more what I mean, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to have some sports that you don't really like to play, and you're going to have some sports that are your favorites, right? So with music, it's going to be the same thing. One of the ones that tends to like melt my brain is reggae for some reason. Like just
Like
taking
POD?
away the downbeat and focusing everything on beat 3 just doesn't want to register to me for some
1,
reason.
2, 3, 4.
Well, so you're playing a bass drum on one though. Yeah. See, I watched your brain melt. So, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, well, just listen to POD. That's reggae.
It-
Yes,
That's rock.
it is.
Is it?
It's rock.
It's reggae. It sounds
With a
like
little bit of reggae influence, but it's rock.
Sure,
Oh, yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure. A little bit of influence is a big difference.
Yeah. That's the only one I can think of.
Lars Ulrich can technically play jazz.
Lars who?
Metallica's drummer.
Yeah, no.
So
Yeah.
you know, he's a metal guy. You know,
He can
but-
play Metallica.
Yeah, but
Kinda.
he does some jazz. You know, so it's like well. But anyway,
Maybe the most famous rock drummer of all time, and everyone got asked me to play jazz. I'm like, how much are you paying me? And I'll consider it.
well,
You get
I
paid
think
and
the
it's
better
a
you get at it, the more fun it is, and it's just kind of a flavor change. It's nice every once in a while.
like eating meat forever.
I have my favorite bands, but I don't
Ice
listen to only ever my favorite band.
What is your favorite band, actually?
Right now, it changes from time to time. I've really been into Avrilize, or I think it's Oralize, but they use a V instead. I don't know, metal band
Yeah.
things.
I know what I do.
But I've been listening to them a lot. I really like Wage War. I really like Currents. Trivium's been one of my favorites for a long time. Disturbed was like my first metal band when I was a kid.
Yeah, well,
Disturbed,
I'm hovering
System
around
of a
like
Down. That's kind of
Fuel.
punkish too.
Like Fuel. Anything rock.
System is post-hardcore, and
Yeah.
Well, what about Going Camper? That's like metalish.
that's like baby prog.
Yeah, that's about the What about?
I've never heard that before.
What about
I
Lexus?
I only know the one famous song by them.
What about Lexus and Fire? That's
I
metal.
don't.
Yeah, they're metal.
I heard that one song.
Anyway,
Okay,
let's get
going-
to
yeah.
some drumming. So here you go.
Oh yeah, is that dongle still here?
Oh yeah.
What's still here? Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm keeping it because you lost it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
don't-
been
I don't lose-
collecting stuff. Ben and Wesley, they left their notebook here, and
I don't lose any of
Jackson
my
left a
stuff.
water bottle.
I don't lose my stuff. I lose my.
Mason almost left his hat.
So you
I almost
lose.
got a brand new hat.
He loses my stuff. He doesn't lose his stuff.
No, Steve, one of Mason's friends and my friend leaves everything at our house. Just he's left. I don't know
He's
how
known. He's known for leaving stuff at our house, which is
He
cool.
left a hat under the bed, and the bed's about this high off the ground.
How does that even happen?
They fool around with it.
Okay. Let's do a little bit of
Rock.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So let's do this. I'm gonna shuffle the charts around a little bit.
You keep
I
going.
want you to pick a number between, let's see, 1, don't peek, 1 and 10.
Okay.
Pick a number.
7.
Okay, so
Mom's
this
favorite.
is 10.
Okay, I don't actually mind being ticker.
All right.
I was hoping I'd get Birdland.
It was in there.
What number was it?
Number, I think 3. All right. There we go. Great, good for you guys. Tell me a little bit. What do you think? What do you think is the best part of the way that you play that? What do you think sounded really good?
Basically, almost the entire thing.
Okay, so you feel confident about
Yeah,
all
I
of
just
it.
don't remember. Like, I basically get almost instant amnesia when I play. I just don't.
But you remember pretty
forget.
quick once you hear it.
Yeah, like once I play, I don't remember which parts I did bad. Mostly.
Okay. Well, then how do we improve that? How do we change that?
by making me do memory exercises forever?
Well, doing things like this, right? So, I probably what I need to do is I need to start prefacing you before we start playing. Say, okay, turn your brain on, and I want you to really think about what you play and what sounded good and what could be improved. Okay? So, was there anything that jumped out at you at all, like, oh, I wish I had done that, or maybe that could have gone a little bit better? What do you think?
No.
No? Okay. How about your transitions?
There's one that surprises me every time.
Mm-hmm. So there's a bit of a surprise when we're moving from one thing to another. Right?
I mean, I knew it was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But
But not exactly where.
I also don't remember which one it was, so.
Okay. Cool. So my recommendation is you want to listen for 4-bar phrases as much as possible. So a lot of times, in fact, who does this the most is, have you met Oliver before? The client that Amy sent me, actually, Kyle and his son Oliver. Oliver likes to, at the end of his lessons, he gives me requests and asks me to play them. And so I'm improvising songs that I have either never heard before or never played before. So far, I think he's only given me 1, maybe 2 songs that I've actually played before. Right, so he's calling all kinds of stuff.
I'm gonna give you a request now.
Well, anyway, so he likes to do that because he gets excited about hearing me play. So the thing about that, right, is if I know a transition is coming up but I'm not sure, what do you think is a good strategy for that?
Back off and then
Yeah.
hear it. Just
Where is a transition most likely to occur?
at the end of a 4-bar.
Yeah,
phrase.
at the end of a
Just
4-bar,
listen for
8-bar, 16-bar, right? So something that's divisible by 4.
Yeah,
4, 8, 12,
12.
16. Mm-hmm.
20.
So what you're doing is you're kind of listening for if the energy starts rising at the end of a phrase, right? If the energy starts to rise at the end of a phrase, react to that and go for a fill. Worst case scenario, if you play kind of a safer fill and come out of it and it's like, oops, we weren't supposed to move there, then you just go back to where you were. Oh well, you spiked the energy a little bit, but it was at the end of a phrase anyway, so it's okay, everyone will forgive you, right? So, but that's a key point in improvising something. So playing something that you have never heard before or aren't particularly experienced in is you want to be prepared to move, in divisions of 4, right?
Mm.
So,
Unless it's like reggae, which is odd.
well, even then, most styles are still going to use 4-bar phrases for the most part. They'll change it up a little bit. I was noticing that in Ran Can Can that you have an 8-bar phrase and then you have a 10-bar phrase and then an 8-bar phrase and a 10-bar phrase, and it goes back and forth that way. So that's a little bit tricky. You don't
Maybe
always see
18
that kind of thing.
times 4.
But whatever the case, right? So in the case of Manteca, where I really would have liked something is both switching into and out of the jazz section. So into is a little bit more subtle because you have all the hits. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba, and you're just kind of in. So there's not really a lot of time for like da da ding 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 ding, like, so that one's kind of passable. But especially coming out of it, right? You're in this swing and you want to prep everybody to get back into the mambo. So what's the main difference in the feel? So when you move to jazz, how are you counting?
Shut the door. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Basically.
I agree.
And this one, I'm just not counting actually.
The mambo part feels more in 2, right?
Well, I can't feel it. Like,
Ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 ba
yeah.
ba
and every time I
ba.
try to count, the horns take 1 this direction, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 is going the other direction. It's the horn. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I could not focus.
Mm-hmm.
Literally doing so, I could not focus because the horns right here, they pull you this way. Everything else pulls you this way.
Yeah, he had a hard part when Dizzy's doing his little trumpet solo
Oh, yeah.
part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's
his
good
timing is
exercise. One of the things that Angel and Gabe are finally, for the first time, they're getting frustrated that the band is dragging. I said, that's good. Because now you can feel it and you're trying to resist it, which is why it's frustrating, right? If you don't know that it's happening, then you're getting swept along without realizing it, and the band is going to keep dragging. But when you can hear the tempo clear as day and you feel them dragging and you're like, no, and you're trying to double down harder and keep it all together and they're still not doing it, that should be a little bit frustrating because you're trying desperately to keep the tempo where it's at. So it's good. They're pros, so they can do that to each other. They can kind of stretch the time and whatever because they know that their drummer has it no matter what. Boom, rock solid pro.
Yeah. I remember how to do that, Emilio.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
So
that.
the big one is that the Latin part feels like it's in 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. Right? That's what your songo is.
I thought I'm playing the Manteca.
Right?
I thought this was the Manteca.
Well, songo is the groove that you're playing. But so what I've been trying to explain to Angel and Gabe is when you go back into the Latin section, play something that feels like it's in 2, because you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, da 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 dun dun da da ba ba da ba ba, right? Ba 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 da da da. You know what works really nice for everything Latin? I think I've shown it to you before. Ra da 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 da. Have I shown you that one before? Yep. That works great for anything Latin. Right? That thing can work. That kind of thing can work really well. Even if you're doing swing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, ding, 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 ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba. Right? Even just dinging on the bell like that is getting everybody ready to make the shift. Right? Because if it's somewhat of a tricky shift for you, it's tricky for them too. You know.
Sometimes the horns have it easier. They're just going versus do 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 do.
All right.
All right. Now
So
pick another number other than.
Yep. So it's gonna be a number 1 through 9, but I'm gonna change the order of everything in my head. Okay. So if you just pick number 3, it's not gonna be Birdland.
Got it.
Okay. So pick another number randomly, 1 through 9.
6.
Okay.
Which one's number 6? If it's Rain Can. This is actually really easy to see. Medium swim. I have to do absolutely basically nothing.
So
just like comp.
Here's the deal. Yeah. So if it feels so incredibly easy, which I agree, this is one of the easiest tunes in here. Do something to make it interesting. Yeah. Use some 3-5-4s. Use some comps. You know, don't go too far out of the box where we can't tell what song it is or whatever. Like, don't disrupt the band. But if it's super easy for you, then do some embellishing. Yeah. All right.
Headphones help.
No, they don't.
Okie doke. Here we
They
go.
make your ears impervious.
but if this chart doesn't line up with the version that I'm using, then you're going to look at it for a little bit, but then you're going to just rely on your listening. I want you to actually read the chart.
It is
So
by Frank
blue
Mantis.
monk, and let's say Frank. Of it, so it might not sound great, but
I think this might be the one I used for him.
okay.
Yep. The out-of-tune trumpet gives it away.
This is very slow. Okay, so I'm gonna start it from the beginning, and I want you to really treat it like a chart. I want to know that you know where we are. So, what are some of the things to note?
That from.
What do you start
We're
with?
gonna go just on the right, just spin.
And then, where's your first major change?
Really right here. A hi-hat. And then right here.
And then, yep, you do a little figure right there.
And
Maybe
then
catch
here.
that. If you can catch that, that would be cool.
You go to
And then
this,
move back to the right here. Go through. Maybe catch that. Maybe catch that.
And this all the way to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then again. And then this time just jump to this.
Mm-hmm.
Catch all this.
Mm-hmm. And then end. Good. The whole thing in total is 2 minutes. So they might not even do 2 whole solos if it's only 2 minutes long. Okay.
The flat trumpet.
This is a good one to try to read from start to finish with as many hits as possible because this is an easy chart, right? All right, do your best. Here we go. Okay, this didn't start from the beginning, did it? Because we're in the solo section. Never mind. Recording is awful. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's no other ones that are... Okay, never mind. We'll save it for today. Okay, that's good enough for me. So, you knocked out 2 charts. That was... Oh boy. Okay,
That's
we're
not
gonna have to do something about that. All right. And for the part that you have been waiting for.
You get to play your Birdland now.
Okay, here's the deal. All right. So, I want to do this because it's fun for you. However, is this just a jam time the same way that you would do it at home? No, sir. Right? So, we'll spend the last 10-15 minutes or so working on this song. But what I want to think about is how you're going to improve it. Okay? So, turn your memory on. I want you to think about things that are good. I want you to think about things that are bad.
Change.
Sure.
Where
Catch
the-
changes, set them up. And what do we want to go for first and above all else? Tasty licks. Precision.
Doing it well.
Volume. Yeah, what are we looking at? What do you think is your biggest priority?
To play it well and to
Play it well. Okay.
To play as best I can.
Sure. So,
Okay.
yeah, playing it well is good. But yeah, I would say prioritize for right now. Prioritize being very clean in what you play, right? So if there's a fill that doesn't come out very good, or there's a section that's kind of washy, I might pause it and go, okay, let's clean that up,
Got it.
right? Okay. So let's use our memory. Let's really try to make this as good as you can make it.
Let's get rid of some of my instant amnesia about this.
Yeah.
I just never remember. It's odd.
You're just not used to having to do it is all. That's no problem. As soon as you start getting used to it. I remember the first time my teacher told me, yeah, actually, after I get done playing a song, I pretty much remember exactly what I did at every point during the song. I was like blown away by that. This was a long time ago. Like, you remember everything that you played? He's like, yeah, you don't. Now I get it. I do now. But at the time, you know, I didn't. I was just kind of wildly going at whatever I thought I could grab. So, alrighty. You ready, dude?
Yeah.
So, have fun, but try to be real precise. Try to make things real clean and really good, even if it's a little less flashy. Yeah? You don't have to go for the big fill that you might mess up. You can go for a smaller fill that you know you're going to nail. Yeah? Cool. Here you go, bud. Have fun. Carrying yourself from playing, I can feel that you're taking it more seriously than you did like last week, for example. So good. First of all, I thought the volumes on your crash cymbals were thoughtful. I thought you're paying more attention to sounding good and less attention to just smashing. Okay? So first of all, great. I loved that. I was surprised at the precision for the, like, when you're up on the crash cymbal and then you do that like da 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 da. You know what part I'm talking about? So when you come down to the hi-hat for like 2 bars and then you go back. It sounded really nice both times that you did that. So, using your memory, go back, dig. What is the one spot that was consistently a little bit sloppy? Yeah. So, if you want to clean that up, you got to take that, you got to slow it down a little bit. And you do it over and over and over and over again until it gets real clean and really nice. And then you can speed it back up and it's going to sound great when you hit that one, right? Da-sa-doom-doom, right? So let's break it down into pieces. You have hat, bark, snare, bass, and crash. If those are all the different parts, which one of those is the weak one? You know what it is? It's actually not the bark. It's the first of the bass drums. That first bass drum is coming in sometimes a little bit early, sometimes a little bit late. So your second bass drum is good, which is what's bringing you out of it good, which is, that's important. Because if there's one that you need to hit right on the money, it's that last note. But the bass drum right before that is wobbling a bit. Now that I've said that, can you kind of feel that? Try to play. See if you can feel it. Because those last like 4 in a row all sounded really nice. Boom. Sometimes just using your ear to pick it apart. This is how professionals do things. They go through and they pick it apart really clean. We'll do that in the studio. Your dad will come in and go, hey, all of that sounded really clean, but this part right here was messy. Let's focus on that.
That to you.
And
not
and
to
so
me yet.
then, not yet, but he could.
I will.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Because all of it makes you better. You fixed it immediately. That's good. That's great. That's why we do this kind of stuff, because then it sounds clean. So now, let's run it again with that in mind, and I want you to really concentrate on making both of those bass drums really clean. Everything else sounds pretty good. Your dynamics were nice. Your snare drum, that's a pretty tricky passage to play right there, and you played it really nice. Yep, and then there was one other, the fill going into the chorus. Be careful of that fill. Make sure that that's really clean. Boom. Yeah. Clean? Good. Right. Here we go. Again. Precision. Focus. You got it. It sounded really good. Even better this time. Oh. Hello? There we go. I like that a lot. If it's not, let me listen. So he's going. Like you played him as triplets. Do 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 da do 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 bop. Anyway, as long as it's clean. So he does da 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 da. So he's playing 1 E, a 2 E, a 3 E, a 4. So, could you feel the difference just in the first run and the second run? Doesn't it feel good? That's nice. That was a good cleanup just from one little chat. Like, okay, concentrate on making sure that your bass drum is really hitting where it's supposed to hit. I was looking during the chorus, your snare drum's only going up about that high. Great. You're saving some for later. Awesome. Sounds good, dude. All right, let's push forward a little bit. I'll back you up just a tiny bit so you can get into it, and we'll keep going. Okay, dope?
Yep.
All right. Focus. You're doing really good. When you're focused, it sounds great. To nitpick in that section. I thought that went pretty good. I think the only thing that I'm going to get nitpicky on is be careful with your ghosts. Some of your ghosts were very clean. I could hear two very distinct digga-da, two, and other ones were kind of more buzzy. So some of them were real da-da, 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 real clean, real tight, real clean. Other ones were right? So watch for those ghosts, but that's very nitpicky. Everything else was really nice. You had one, I think you came around da do 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 da, like 3 basses, snare bass, 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 snare, and it came out way cleaner than I would expect a triple roll on a bass drum. So
that was messy.
So great, you know, if that comes out like that every time, good, you can use it. Sounds good. Okay, where is the ghosting section?
It was cool to see the drummer body come to life. Like you could see his movements. Like you have different movements. Bobby had different movements, but like the Zane
Yeah.
flow is showing.
Yeah, I do it too. I have certain things that I do. One of the ones that I know I have a tendency to do is when I hit a crash symbol, I have a tendency to look away from it. I don't know why I do that, but it's like opposites. Boom, boom. So we've all kind of got our motions, I guess.
Well, I've been going from
But what's good is that you're focused and it's clean, but you're also still enjoying it, and I can see that in the body language. All right, let's see if we can squeeze this in before I got Dia showing up. This is about where it is. Was my favorite part of the ending. Yeah. Why?
because your metal drummer.
Sure, but why else?
Good answer.
Because it was clean. Okay. Why else?
That's
There's one
Because
really
it
good
fit the
reason that I'm
song?
looking for.
could it fit the song?
It was because you held it. Right? So if you were on all of these choruses like I've heard you do before, where you're going and you're pumping them out all over the place, they get kind of boring after a while. But you're throwing in these, like that last chorus, you just hung on. Do da do do da do da do do da. I'm not hearing all these, all these crazy embellishments. It was just clean and crisp. And then you get into the halftime at the end, and you give me one roll. You just gave me one. And I'm like, ooh. But then it was over, right? There's something nice in that. You just give them a taste. You're like, hey, I can do this. You know? You're not overusing it. You're not over-seasoning your food. It was just a splash of it, and it's like, ooh, I like
Splash of
that.
salt.
I
Splash
like
of-
that. Yeah, it's a good flavor. You're not over-seasoning. So I did notice though, after I told you about that triple bass drum, da 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 da. Then you used it 2 other times, and both times it was about what I expected it to be. Like, yeah. Trying to get a triple roll on one foot is, if you want to use that, you got to work it, because that's not an easy maneuver.
Triple roll. Yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
Don't tighten it too tight, dude. Don't wrap it too tight.
Yeah.
So if that's a fill that you like, then clean that up. Da do 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 da, da do 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 da, da do 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 da, da do 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 da. Right? Slow it down, make sure that it's really clean, and then gradually start to speed it up until that's an easy one for you. When you're in here, you got a double pedal, so you can just use that.
When I'm at home, I got them.
Yeah, you got that too. So,
Of course.
you know,
Gotta-
if
gotta
I want
have
to do something
good
like that,
stuff.
most of the time I'm doing it with double. Da do 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 da, da do 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 da, especially faster. Da do do ga, da do do ga, da do do ga, that
And
kind
I'm
of thing.
taking the time to do 1 foot.
Yeah.
It is slower, but it's also a little fancier. It's just,
Those yours are his. Those are
These
yours.
are mine.
yeah, I left mine are still in my.
I didn't pull his out of the binder.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in mine.
So, here's the thing. You can
Ooh,
what
wow.
we just did right now. You can do that at home.
Oh, yay.
If you really turn your brain on, you switch it on, and you go, you know what? I'm gonna really try to clean this up today. you can like you can find that stuff on your own.
And I'm doing that tomorrow. Are you gonna